Alright, buckle up, Buttercups, because we're diving headfirst into a wild ride of a movie that proves you should never underestimate the quiet ones. This isn't your average spy flick. It's a deeply personal, gut-wrenching tale of revenge wrapped in a high-tech package. We're talking about a man pushed to his absolute limit, who decides he's not just gonna get mad, he's gonna get even, with a side of sophisticated hacking. So, we start off with Charlie Heller, a regular dude, seems pretty content. He's saying goodbye to his wife Sarah, who's off to London for what she thinks is a 4-day conference, but oh, surprise, it's actually 5. Classic couple stuff. Making coffee, packing bags, the whole domestic bliss routine. Sarah even asks Charlie to come with her, but he brushes it off, saying he's got some work to untangle, and promises, next time. Little do they know that next time is a promise that'll echo through a tragedy. They exchange, I love you, and Sarah leaves him with a list of things to water and a reminder about a key for Mike for the boiler. Pretty mundane, right? You just know it's too good to last. Charlie heads into his super secret government job, way down on floor -5, decryption and analysis. He's a total brainiac, the kind of guy his buddy Chuck, who just got back from across the pond, needs to decipher computer shit. Think of Charlie as the quiet, unassuming genius behind the scenes, far from the field agents doing the bang-bang stuff. One of Charlie's regular contacts is this mysterious character known only as Senor Inquilin. Charlie's been trying to guess Inquilin's identity for years, even speculating that they're a 50-year-old Russian man living in Istanbul with a love for Reddit and Turkish coffee. Inquilin, amused, drops him a massive 2.1 terabyte data tranche from Kabul Station spanning 2014 to 2022. The kicker? It's no charge this time, but comes with a chilling warning. This data is highly compromising for your agency. Talk about a shot in the dark, but hey, man's gotta try, right? This is where the ordinary starts to crumble. Meanwhile, Charlie's colleagues are playing a game, trying to figure out what a 20 BY 10-meter crate on a semi-truck heading to DC could be. Charlie, ever the analyst, casually nails it. It's the White House Christmas tree coming from Pennsylvania. He's got that sharp, observational mind, the kind that picks up on details others miss. He even spots a guy his colleague calls the most dangerous man in the building, a secret agent Heller, who Charlie claims to have saved once. The whole thing screams, standard day at the office. He even calls Sarah, who's tired in London, grabbing coffee, and they share another sweet moment, oblivious to the storm brewing. Then it happens. News breaks of a horrific attack in London. First, reports mention a drone strike or suicide bomber, with over 150 people dead, including international special forces. The official story spins it as an insurgent attack, not a misdirected airstrike. But Charlie, with his access to vast data, sees something isn't right. He admits to Chief Moore that he looked somewhere I shouldn't have, hinting at classified files. Moore, ever the stickler for binary operations, warns him to keep quiet about gray areas. Too late. Charlie is summoned to Director O'Brien's office. The news is brutal, soul-crushing, an attack at the Christopher Street Hotel, and Sarah is killed. He's in complete disbelief, keeps saying they need to call her, but surveillance footage confirms it. 4 assailants, hostages, and his Sarah is one of the 2 fatalities. The deepest cut? She wasn't just a random victim. She was taken because she tried to save someone else. Charlie, reeling from grief, uses his genius to identify Sarah's killers, Mishka Blazek, Lawrence Elish, and the triggerman, Horst Schiller. He even locates Gretchen Frank, an associate of the group in Paris. He presents this information to his superiors, expecting action, but Moore and O'Brien shut him down. They already knew about Gretchen Frank and revealed they're after the whole network for national security, implying Sarah's death is just collateral damage in a bigger game. They tell him to go home, take time, even suggest therapy. The dismissal, the cold, calculated response ignites a fuse within Charlie. His wife's life, her bravery, reduced to a pawn in a larger, cynical game. The therapy session that follows is heartbreaking. Charlie is trapped in a cycle of blame for not answering her last call, for not going with her, for never going with her. He admits to feeling useless, angry, and utterly frustrated that the agency, with all its power, did nothing when he gave them the names of her killers. He demands they do their job and go after them, but the therapist's cold comfort is that it's ultimately about him coming to terms with Sarah's absence. This only solidifies his resolve. Charlie returns to floor -5, but he's not just rectifying files anymore. He reveals to Moore and O'Brien that he has highly classified eyes-only cables from Kabul Station. These aren't just any cables. They're the real ones, exposing a horrifying truth. The agency has been altering and scrubbing records of black ops, operations that destroyed hospitals, allied bases, and civilian homes, leading to over 1,000 casualties and 400 civilian deaths. He accuses Moore of forcing, quote, mission creep and making, quote, political decisions. This isn't just about Sarah anymore. It's about exposing systemic corruption at the highest levels. Then comes the bombshell. Charlie has set up a dead man's switch. If he doesn't code in every 5 hours, these damning files go to 3 top investigative journalists. And then, 24 hours later, they're public. No jail, no black site, no extradition. Any attempt to silence him will only condemn yourselves. His demand? Not just justice, but personal vengeance. He wants the CIA to train him, give him all the intel on Sarah's killers, provide cash, and a new identity, so he can find and kill them himself. Moore and O'Brien are flabbergasted, even mock his physical abilities. The agency, terrified of the exposed intel, decides to play along with Charlie's demands. Their cynical calculation? Let him train, he'll probably quit, or better yet, arrange a training accident if they can't find the mythical dead man's switch. They assign the formidable Colonel Henderson as his handler, a no-nonsense, hard-ass who immediately asserts his authority. Henderson is supposed to break Charlie, not train him to be an assassin. He tells Charlie he's overestimating your odds of survival, calling him son. While Henderson puts Charlie through a humiliating shooting range session where Charlie can't even hit a target at a distance. Spoiler alert, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, or even Henderson at point-blank range. Maybe stick to code. Chuck Park and the tech team are tearing apart Charlie's office looking for the switch. They trace his movements, discovering he bought a magnetic strip from Best Buy and used it to skim files from a printer's rewritten software. The crucial detail? Charlie spent 40 minutes in various blind spots around the office. They finally figure out he hid the data on a disk, stuffed under a jukebox in a bar he frequented. Once the disk is retrieved and the bluff is exposed, the agency orders Charlie to be taken off the board. But Charlie, ever the step ahead, uses a hacked janitor's card to escape, leaving the agency to realize he knew exactly what he was doing and was just chasing breadcrumbs to get himself trained. Their brilliant plan? Let's just train him, he'll probably quit anyway. Oh, the irony. Now Charlie's on his own, a rogue agent, fueled by grief. His first target, Gretchen Frank in Paris. He uses misdirection, buying every single sunflower and lily from a florist near her cafe. He breaks into the building where she works, not with brute force, but with the quiet precision of a lockpicker, learning from a YouTube tutorial. Who knew YouTube could teach you how to be an assassin? He then cuts the power, plunging the facility into darkness, before confronting Gretchen in a locked chamber. He uses the pollen from the flowers he bought to trigger a severe allergic reaction in her, slowly suffocating her. He demands Horst Schiller's location, identifying himself as Sarah's husband. Gretchen, struggling for air, gasps that Schiller contacts them via messenger and is gone after what happened to her and Blazek. Charlie takes her phone and leaves her to die, a cold, calculated act of vengeance. The agency, ever in the dark, gets word of Gretchen's death, but conveniently assumes one of her own folks ran her down, blaming fallout from London and denying their involvement. Charlie's next stop is Istanbul, drawn by his connection to Inquilin. The person he meets, however, is not the 50-year-old Russian man he imagined, but Inquilin's widow. She's been operating in her deceased husband's place for 6 years after he, quote, fell out of a window. Apparently, accidental falls from windows are the #1 cause of death for former KGB. Who knew? Not me, that's for sure. She explains her husband taught her everything, and she maintained contact with Charlie's department for protection. She's a weary, haunted woman who admits she doesn't want to run anymore. She confirms Schiller is the coordinator and Elish sources weapons, but points to Mishka Blazek as the weak link. She then showcases Charlie's incredible analytical skills, deciphering Blazek's recent social media post, pinpointing his location in Madrid based on details like vineyard spacing, church architecture, and even a reflection of his girlfriend in his wine glass. Just as Charlie gains this crucial intel, Henderson and the agency are hot on his heels. Henderson even tracks Charlie to Marseille, trying to appeal to his humanity, telling him he's not a killer and that Sarah would want him home. But Charlie's grief runs deeper. She's not there, he replies, unable to return to a home that feels empty. Charlie arrives in Madrid, where Blazek is staying at the luxurious Aguilar Hotel, complete with a rooftop pool. Charlie, using his meticulous planning, approaches Blazek as he enjoys a private night swim. He then delivers a chilling ultimatum. He's rigged the transparent glass bottom of the pool with a device that can decompress the air between its layers, threatening to shatter it and send Blazek plummeting. Blazek, terrified, denies killing Sarah, saying it wasn't me. He only reveals that Schiller is at sea in Russian waters, a vague clue. Unsatisfied, Charlie triggers the device, dropping Blazek through the glass bottom of the pool. Henderson, tracking Charlie, rushes in, leading to a tense cat-and-mouse chase through the hotel's labyrinthine hallways, with Charlie narrowly escaping the pursuing agents. Meanwhile, the CIA is chasing digital ghosts across Europe, like a high-stakes game of where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Next on Charlie's hit list is Lawrence Elish, the arms dealer found in Berlin. Charlie sets a meeting under the guise of buying hardware, but it's another trap, meticulously designed. As Elish opens the package, Charlie reveals he's just armed an IED with a beam trigger. Any movement will detonate it. He shows Elish a photograph of Sarah, forcing him to confront his victim's face. Elish, panicking, insists Schiller is gone after the deaths of Gretchen and Blazek, confirming they were indeed Charlie's doing. Under duress, Elish gives up a more precise location for Schiller, a port on the Baltic Sea called Primorsk, and 2 phone numbers for Schiller's men, Simon and Christoph. Charlie then leaves Elish with the armed device, sealing his fate as Elish dies in a powerful explosion. The agency is now thoroughly perplexed. They track Charlie's fake pings to Rome and Prague, realizing he's throwing them off the scent, confirming his incredible skill at misdirection. They also get the grim news of Elish's death in Romania. Charlie, now truly on the run, finds himself in Russia, where Henderson again catches up to him. In a quiet cafe, Henderson makes one last plea, trying to persuade Charlie to come home, to stop this path of destruction. He reiterates that Charlie isn't a killer, and that Sarah would want him back. But Charlie, hardened by his mission, simply repeats, "She's not there." The quiet analyst is gone, replaced by a man consumed by vengeance, capable of unimaginable acts. Charlie finally tracks Horst Schiller to his heavily secured boat in the Baltic Sea. He infiltrates the vessel, confronting Schiller face to face. He accuses Schiller of being hired by Moore and Caleb for Black Ops, and has the proof. Schiller, surprisingly calm, remembers Sarah, calling her very brave for taking the place of someone else. He then chillingly explains her death was necessary because the police had blocked their exit, and he, quote, had to demonstrate what would happen if they weren't allowed to leave. Just a necessary sacrifice. In his cold, calculating mind, Schiller then turns the tables, accusing Charlie of being just like him. He points out Charlie's torture of colleagues, Gretchen, dropping a man 16 stories, Blazek, and suffocating a woman, Gretchen again. He emphasizes that Charlie staged these elaborate murders from a distance, never confronting them directly. Schiller taunts him, saying Charlie isn't a true killer because it's hard to take a life up close and you lose something each time. He claims Charlie gave them a chance to escape so he could tell himself there's no blood on his hands. But Charlie delivers the ultimate mic drop. He reveals he's taken control of Schiller's boat, using the very encryption that the CIA insisted upon for the ship's vault-like security encryption Charlie himself wrote. He tells Schiller they've just reached Finnish waters, and the Finnish Navy and Interpol are inbound, alerted by Charlie himself. Charlie orchestrated this entire encounter, keeping Schiller talking long enough for the authorities to arrive. Schiller is apprehended, and Charlie finally has his victory. In the aftermath, Director O'Brien holds a press conference, a new face of accountability for the agency. She addresses the dark corners of their work, admitting that information has surfaced, implicating senior members in rogue missions that were illegal and risked their own agents. She declares that those responsible will face the full force of the law. This is a massive shift, and the world is listening. When asked about the series of killings in European cities, she deflects. But when pressed about the whistleblower, she confirms the officer is safe and will, quote, continue to serve with the agency. It's a calculated victory for Charlie, a clean slate for the agency, and a step towards something resembling justice. Finally, Henderson finds Charlie. He's still surprised by Charlie's transformation, admitting that what Charlie has become can't be taught. Charlie, no longer the timid analyst, reflects on his journey. I guess I just suddenly saw what needed doing, when no one else did. The quiet genius, fueled by unimaginable loss, found his purpose and became something entirely new. An amateur no longer, but a force to be reckoned with, operating outside the lines, but ultimately bringing a corrupt system to its knees. It's a gripping reminder that sometimes the most dangerous people aren't the ones you expect, but the ones you push too far. What a ride.